The Little Mermaid. Far away at the bottom of the sea lived the Sea King. He lived with his old mother and his 6 mermaid daughters. The youngest was the most lovely of all. Her skin was like a rose. Her eyes were deep blue, and she had the most beautiful singing voice on land or sea. Like all mermaids, the little mermaid had no legs. Her body ended in a fish's tail. The mermaids had a wonderful life. All day long they played and sang. But the little mermaid was happiest when her grandmother told her stories. She told all about the world of humans above the sea. When you are 15, you can swim up and see it yourself, the grandmother said. The little mermaid could hardly wait. At night she stood by her window and gazed up through the water. She dreamed of seeing the golden sun and purple clouds, the deep green forest and splendid palaces. At last, the little mermaid turned 15. Her grandmother gave her a long string of pearls to wear. The little mermaid kissed her grandmother goodbye. Come back soon, said grandmother. I will, said the little mermaid, and she swam up through the water, swift and clear as a bubble. The little mermaid put her head up out of the sea. In front of her was a big ship. She swam to the window to look inside. She saw a big party with many people. The handsomest of all was a young prince. She could not take her eyes off him. Instantly there was a loud clap of thunder. Lightning filled the sky, and the seas began to rise. A terrible storm raged. The waves slapped the prince's ship harder and harder until the great ship broke apart. The little mermaid saw the prince fall into the sea. The prince will drown, she cried. I must save him. The little mermaid went diving down to look for him. The little mermaid found the prince. She swam up through the water with him. She held his head above the sea and took him to shore. She gently put the prince on the sand and kissed his forehead. Then the mermaid swam and hid behind a large rock. I cannot leave until someone comes to help him, the little mermaid vowed. Soon a pretty girl came along the beach. She had deep blue eyes. The prince walked up and smiled at the girl. He didn't smile at the little mermaid. He did not know that it was the little mermaid who had saved his life. He did not know she even existed. The girl led the prince away. The little mermaid felt so sad to see him go. She swam back home full of sorrow. 너무 슬픔에 잠긴 채로 집으로 돌아갔어요. Days and weeks went by, but the little mermaid did not feel better. She could only think about the prince. She missed him so much. She found out where he lived. The prince lived in a wonderful white palace by the sea. Many nights the little mermaid swam near the palace. She swam so close she could see the prince looking out his window at the sea. How she longed to be near him once again. The little mermaid loved the world above the sea more and more. Grandmother, she asked one day, can people live forever? No, said grandmother. People die as we do, but when mermaids die, we become foam on the water. Humans have a soul that lives forever. Could I get a human soul? Asked the little mermaid. Her grandmother said only if a human loved you with all his heart and married you, then his soul would fly into your body. He would give you a soul and still keep his own. That night the little mermaid could not sleep. I must win the prince's love and marry him, cried the mermaid. Then I will have a soul that will live forever. Maybe the sea witch can help me. The sea witch lived in a house made of the bones of drowned sailors. Hundreds of sea snakes filled the garden. When the witch saw the little mermaid, she said, I know what you want, a pair of human legs. Then you can walk on land and win the love of the prince. The mermaid nodded eagerly. You will be sorry, said the witch, but I will grant your wish. I will make a magic drink for you. You must swim to land and drink it. Then your tail will split in two and you will have human legs. It will hurt terribly when you walk. Are you ready for that? Yes, said the mermaid, I am. Remember, the witch warned, once you are human, you can never become a mermaid again. And if the prince married someone else, you will not get a human soul. You will turn to foam on the sea. 왕자가 다른 사람과 결혼하면 이 Little Mermaid는 거품이 돼버린대요. The mermaid turned very pale, but she said, I'm ready. First, you must pay me, said the sea witch. You have the prettiest voice on earth or sea. You must give your voice to me. But what will I have left? Cried the little mermaid. Your lovely body, your grace, and your deep blue eyes. All right, the mermaid said. Take it. Instantly, the mermaid's voice was gone. She could not speak or sing. The witch gave the little mermaid her magic drink. The mermaid swam to shore. She sat on the steps of the prince's palace and drank the magic brew. The next thing she knew, the little mermaid woke up. She had the prettiest legs on earth, and in front of her stood the handsome prince. Who are you? asked the prince. Where do you come from? But the little mermaid could not speak. She could only look at the prince with her sad blue eyes. The prince took the mermaid's hand and led her into his palace. Every step felt like sharp knives, but the little mermaid didn't mind. She was finally with the prince. In the palace, the little mermaid had her own room. She had a bed with a velvet canopy. She had a mirror with a golden frame. The little mermaid wore the finest silk dresses. She was the most beautiful girl in the kingdom, but she could not speak or sing. Her beautiful voice was gone. The prince gave many parties. One night, a group of lovely girls sang for the mermaid, the prince, and the royal family. The prince clapped his hands in delight. This made the mermaid so sad. I sang more beautifully than anyone, she thought. If only the prince knew I gave away my voice to be with him. Next, the lovely girls danced. The little mermaid rose up on her toes. She danced as lightly as a bubble. She looked more lovely with every step. Everyone was enchanted, the prince most of all. The little mermaid danced and danced, though it hurt her feet terribly. You must never leave me, said the prince. Never. The mermaid spent all her days with the prince. They did everything together. They had picnics on the beach. They went riding on royal horses in the deep green ooze.